Write me a YouTube script on explaining the movie Back to the Future. Opening shot of the iconic DeLorean car. Narrator, welcome to our breakdown of the classic sci-fi film, Back to the Future. Directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Michael J. Fox, this movie tells the story of a teenager who accidentally travels back in time to the 1950s and must find a way to return to the present. But before we dive into the plot, let's first set the stage for the film's release in 1985. Cut to footage of the 1980s, with footage of the DeLorean car, movies, posters, and other 80s pop culture. Narrator, the 80s was a decade of change and innovation. It was a time when people were excited about the future and the possibilities of technology. But it was also a time when people looked back on the past with nostalgia. This nostalgia is a big part of what makes Back to the Future so special. Cut to footage of the movie, with scenes of Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox, interacting with his parents in the past and trying to set things right. Narrator, the story follows Marty McFly, a typical teenager who finds himself transported back in time to the 1950s. He meets his parents as teenagers, and quickly realizes that he needs to change the course of their lives in order to ensure that he is born in the future. Along the way, Marty also has to deal with the villainous Biff Tannen, who is determined to make his own life easier by changing the past. Cut to footage of the iconic scene where Marty plays Johnny B. Good at the school dance, showing how he helps his father George, Crispin Glover, become more confident and assertive. Narrator, one of the most iconic scenes in the movie is when Marty plays the guitar at the school dance and helps his father become more confident and assertive. This is a great example of how the movie uses time travel as a tool to explore themes of family, identity, and the butterfly effect. Cut to the final scene, where Marty returns to the future and sees that his life has changed for the better. Narrator, in the end, Marty is able to return to the present, and he finds that his life has changed for the better. He has a better relationship with his parents, and his future is more secure. This is a satisfying conclusion to the story, and it's a great reminder of the power of family and the importance of taking responsibility for our actions. Closing shot of the DeLorean driving off into the distance. Narrator, thanks for joining us for our breakdown of Back to the Future. This movie is a classic that continues to be loved by audiences of all ages. Its themes and ideas are timeless, and its special effects and action scenes still hold up today. If you haven't seen it yet, we highly recommend you to give it a watch. Closing credits. Write me a YouTube script of 2,000 words that I can read out explaining the movie Back to the Future. Opening shot of the iconic DeLorean car. Narrator, welcome to our in-depth breakdown of the classic sci-fi film, Back to the Future. Directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Michael J. Fox, this movie tells the story of a teenager who accidentally travels back in time to the 1950s and must find a way to return to the present. But before we dive into the plot, let's first set the stage for the film's release in 1985. The 80s was a decade of change and innovation. It was a time when people were excited about the future and the possibilities of technology. But it was also a time when people looked back on the past with nostalgia. This nostalgia is a big part of what makes Back to the Future so special. The movie plays on this nostalgia by setting the story in the 1950s, a decade that is often remembered fondly as a simpler, more innocent time. The story follows Marty McFly, a typical teenager who finds himself transported back in time to the 1950s. He